powerful, but now the Kennen going to hit the bench. It seems like G2 recognized that this pick in general is just too powerful. So if they can't first pick it, they are going to take it off the board.
Yeah, a lot of those are pretty standard red side bans as well. Lucian Annie.
Yeah, it's actually true.
It's like
I'm lulled into a false sense of what this
everyone's
means
left
because
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. Those are just the most normal bans we've ever seen. I'm like, look at these target bans.
Big reaction. G2 terrified of. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a second. These are the most conventional bans possible.
Vi, first pick, left up though. Something that we saw a lot in the previous series actually, and something that BLG was able to use quite well.
Well, and I am a huge fan. Probably like just about everybody else in professional League of Legends of Vi Ahri. Just what an incredible duo. Vi Wukong is the hype I know for so long, but I think Wukong much higher ceiling in theory, but you know, much harder execution overall. The Vi, the Ahri, such a reliable way to get things kicked off, and Yike, he's not going to try the Kha'Zix, but this time around he'll pick up the Viego for himself. And again, this is his most played champion in his career. This is the champion he is known for. I'm ready to see what he can do on it.
I think he saw Jinjia having some fun with it and was like, wait a minute, I can do that better.
Why am I playing Kha'Zix? I could play Viego, and then it's like I got to play 6 champions, mine and whatever they're playing.
Especially because, you know, depending on when you evolve your wings, you don't get the fun of bouncing around all over immediately, whereas Viego basically has that unlocked from 6 if you start resetting through fights.
True.
Like we were kind of expecting, though, Wako onto his famous Aphelios. Absolutely amazing player on this champion. Once he gets that Gale Force, you can see some very aggressive usages of that. And no. He's baiting. No, I'm not.
They played this.
I know they played it.
This was a real pick.
Oh, I believe it, but
there you go.
That's why. Because it's a real pick, Caps knows he can bait us even harder with it.
And in terms of synergy, we're looking at 2 of the strongest mid-jungle duos. You know, Viego and Lissandra want the exact same thing. Burst down 1 target, get resets in the fight. For Viego, obviously the possession. For Lissandra, the frozen thralls. On the opposite side, Ahri and Vi want to blow up 1 person immediately. And it's similar goals, different in how they're going to execute it. But we have teams matching drafts in very similar fashion. Hyper-scaling ADs. Mids that are there for setup. A bit of difference in terms of how they're going to scale. But overall, very similar compositions. And it seems like G2 are comfortable handshaking on potentially going late, looking more at a team fighting angle. Yeah, the Jinx locked in for Hansama, the Blitzcrank ban to set up a potential Thresh pick or a forced ban on the side of PSG, unless PSG have something else in the tank for Woody to bust out. He does have a fairly large champion pool, a lot of things locked in, but I would expect with the Renata bans as well, setting up very obvious Thresh pick. We'll see if they hit that one here. Otherwise, the Darius ban, which was something that was in the previous game, first phase, the fact that there was such a focus on jungle mid and AD carry means that I was able to hit here in the second one, make sure that you can't see that one grabbed up by Broken Blade. Yeah, and even if you know Darius is coming, he's just such a frustrating champion to play against. He's not quite on the scale of Malphite or Sion in terms of an inevitable value, but he's infinitely more annoying. So it's just a champion you don't like. You don't play against it outside of solo queue. I was about to say, no one plays against it except Europe. Because you have Adam just running around. Everyone suddenly has a pocket Darius out of nowhere. Yeah. So shout out to Adam. Yeah. Even though not here in Spirit BDS, making their impact felt. He lives on in the ban phase. That ban is for you. Now we'll see. It looks like G2 wanting to prioritize lane pressure. And again, it does free up so much room for Mickey to roam. It frees up so much for Yike to invade. So while I totally agree that conventional compositions, maybe not a Thresh, but something like a Tom Kenshin said, G2 prioritizing a blind pick that can get pushed on the bottom side of the lane. Yep, no surprise with the Thresh banned out, Lulu being one of the main things you're going to play with these late game hyper carries. It would have been absolutely snapped up by Woody as well, most likely. Pairs decently with Aphelios. Instead, that not being on the table does get the Leona hard engage. So less about lane prio at this point, wanting to probably meet up with Aji and Yubao, or excuse me, Jinjia and Yubao running around the map, making these picks kind of happen. Jinx Lulu, while will be very annoying in lane with the pressure that it's able to get, not the most threatening dive unless Caps has been unlocked. Yep. And I think unlocking those solo laners is going to be something we have to keep track of in this game. Top lane was relatively an island in the early game, except for the fact that G2 kept putting pressure up there. You know, really breaking that open. But if this is going to be more of a bot lane focused game, see what frees them. But that's the Olaf. It was hit a little bit, but ultimately I think still just an absolute powerhouse champion. Incredibly difficult to play against. If it gets ahead, you will never get to play the game. And Broken Blade really laying down the gauntlet again. You thought you escaped the European topside champion pool, but the Olaf is here, and it's been seen just about everywhere in the world, but mostly because it's been banned away. Yeah, Olaf was starting to take over the meta. It felt like towards the later stages of playoffs, a lot of regions domestically, and so the changes came in, but they were not super significant.
you're talking about 5 base damage on Q spam, a little bit lower on the passive attack speed at the start that will scale up based on level, starting at 50% instead of 60. So not the biggest changes and still a very strong champion here. And for Broken Blade, a bit of an unsung hero right now for G2 at this tournament, basically saving their first game versus Loud. Even though if they probably would have won that series no matter what based off game 2, maybe could have dropped in game 1 if not for him. So now again, getting that kind of counter pick, obviously the early Kennen as well for him.
In game 2, PSG versus G2.
Hoping to see PSG bounce back, make a series of this, make London fans sweat a little bit more. We had Golden Guardians do it to BLG earlier. Hopefully PSG can do it here on champions that they're more comfortable with. We obviously spent a lot of time talking about Wako, Aji going to one of the champions I was hoping to see him on, Ksante, one of his most played. Like you talked about, Yubao and Junjia having a lot of pressure in the mid lane. It's a little bit stronger, pre-6 sometimes too. If you can land the charm setup into Q combo from the...
And that was the game where they kind of broke the PSG script. Not that PSG don't win early games, but they really dominated DFM from start to finish when they had this mid-jungle duo and really did an excellent job of snowballing those advantages. Yubao especially, showing up everywhere on the map, finding these picks, finding these angles, really leveraging the Ahri to the fullest. The reason why the champion has been so high prio. Yes, when you play her poorly or fall behind, she looks useless, but if you get ahead and you can continue to snowball that advantage, she looks incredibly powerful.
And very important in the context of PSG, like, yeah, they're not a super proactive team in terms of combined kills per minute, but it is important for them to have pressure on the map and kind of control their opponents, which is what they like to do. Ahri for Yubao being an option to do that, and for people who don't know, that is Uniboy, who previously has played on international stages before when PSG took him on loan, actually, when they had some issues with their mid laner. He was actually incredible, and people thought he was a stronger of the two. Hold on, Broken Blade.
Is he just going to 2v1? He's just unconcerned. He flashes in, the axe is down, Aji. Broken Blade does not care. You cannot stop this Viking. Junja running for his life. What did we just watch?
Broken Blade, I was trying to do story time about PSG before we made the whole thing about him.
Fist fight on the bottom side. Glacial Augment now going in. All of this to distract you from the fact that Broken Blade just very casually walked in and solo killed the enemy top laner in front of the enemy jungler.
This also opens up an
Yike is just walking in.
Yeah, Yike now able to go invade off the top side after
procced. Does bow there. He needs to finish his kill immediately. Charm in, flash to the side. He can pick up the buy. He can now go in for the Q. Cap only level 2. He can't follow up. They can't finish Yubao, but big chunk of damage going down. G2.
Oh my god.
It's topside dominance again. Yes, it happening in a completely different fashion, but it's exactly like game 1. Topside completely in favor of G2.
G2 instantly destroyed the top jungle for PSG. The kill immediately onto Aje, burning his flash, his teleport back in the lane. Yubao as well, losing his flash in that trade. Junjia dying, handing the blue buff over, having you start now on red buff from ground zero, basically. A huge 1,000 gold lead from that invade started by Broken Blade and capitalized on by Yike.
And this is, I was going to say just Olaf things, but I've never seen an Olaf do this. Now, I don't play against a lot of Olafs because I ban this champion, but
Olaf invading topside by himself is a pretty common strategy, but usually it doesn't go quite this hard, where there's just this complete split focus where Junjia just refuses to help Aji out there. He's still hitting the buff at this point in time, so it's basically a 1v1, and Olaf wins almost every melee 1v1 early on in the game. And so even though he hits 2 off the blue smite there, you know, you're still too scared to fight the Olaf.
The meme where you're sweating for your life and your teammates just like chilling, you know, like singing, just having a good time? That feels like your jungler's just like, all right, what's going on? Sorry, is there a problem? Is there an Olaf hitting you? I'm really just trying to finish my blue buff here. Issue, which was resolved, and we're now back in the game.
Oh, that's why Junjia couldn't help Aji. His monitor was turned off.
His monitor was off.
Oh, classic mistake, guys. Everyone's been there,
Whoops.
You know.
Sorry, Ksante.
Well, we'll get him next time.
Yeah. Okay, so the good news is, while this is frustrating, I'd still on G2 to snowball their advantage, and we can take a look back at this play.
So this was the second kill that happened to Junjia.
Yep.
So after the Olaf got the kill, Yike goes instantly for the invade. Doesn't have red buff, actually started on Raptors, of course. So Junjia thinking that he should be stronger, able to win this one out, but Yike just a better 1v1 champ at this point in the game. Nice flash on the charm, then is able to have the solo regrab. No time to talk about it, we're diving bot.
Here we go, level 3 dive on the bot side. Green blue, what's going to get done here? Green red, rather, as Wako gets burned down. That's going to be a reset for Yike if he wants to take it. The TP now coming in. Woody going to take a big chunk of damage there from the Frozen Thrall. He's ticking. G2, wave coming in. They can go for the redive. Auto attack, they're trying to cancel the recall there. Yike desperately trying to clear the wave, cutting that one off. Woody canceling the recall. Yubao here, they need to get something back. G2 setting up, should be an easy dive, should be an easy leap back out to safety. That's gonna be one reset. Yike can now take the Leona. He can now turn his attention back onto Yuba, but he's isolated under the tower for now. Taking his time, walking up, just gets to push Q, finds the stun, sets it up. Yike still living. G2, flawless tower dive. Wako should be able to walk back here and get a kill, but Yike, clean sidestep. Q flashing forward, will be able to get it.
G2, cleaner than your church shoes. Is that still a meme we use? God, that was a good dive. Able to find 3 kills in the bot lane there, up to 5 now. Wako with a, pity cleanup kill onto Yike.
Well, the first 2 kills were concerning, but the first 5 kills are a big problem now.
PSG, if you want the copium angle, was able to come back in the previous game after a pretty disastrous early game.
Much better scaling AD carry on the bottom side of the map. Good engage tools as we get closer to level 6, but certainly a pretty large deficit. That's an entire Caulfield that Yike is just chilling with. We'll see what Vi's able to grab in the meantime. A Kindle Gem, so not too far behind individually.
Hans does have
boots and a Noon Quiver.
Yeah, a little bit ahead. So going to be something where PSG can have to stabilize, because you can expect a lot more roams coming in from G2. I expect them to keep actually attacking this
but
bot
double
side.
buff. They could actually... Hans has cleanse. I don't know if the angle is there, but definitely have the guns for setup if they want to try to force a trade here.
Maybe try. You do have Junjia on the bot side, so maybe going to make a play happen, but does feel scary with the Leona versus Lulu Jinx. You're going to wait out these double buffs, I think, on the side of G2. It will be temporarily low pressure, but later on you can keep making dives happen in the bot side with the Viego, Lissandra, if you can break out of mid lane, which is obviously something they're able to do with how far ahead they are across the board already. 1.5k gold lead.
Wako and Woody getting pressured for now. I don't think it'll result in much other than a convenient recall timing. Not really an angle to go into the mid lane quite yet. Junja now roaming up as Yubao unfortunately lost a little bit of that prio in the early lane phase. Quick boots too for Lissandra means it's so much easier to mitigate the harass, sidestep those abilities. But Yike now walking forward here. Control Ward just to spot him out to make sure they can secure this crab. PSG using the bot prio they secured. Give that crab over to Junja.
Yeah, I think they were maybe considering a Dragon Star as we see Mickey getting a little close range.
Walking up, CC there. Traps now coming in. Yike walking over the wall, but they've kind of also started the Dragon for some reason. A bit of a split call here, but now they're looking for the re-engage. Wako, excellent guns to get this fight kicked off. That's 2. Locked up the Flamethrower, continuing to fire back. Yike now running for his life, and that's a kill for PSG. Slow on to Mickey. No follow-up there. Caps off to the side, almost taken out, but he will walk away with his life.
Yubao putting pressure on the Caps, making sure he could not join that fight and land a big frozen tomb. So isolating the mid laners out allowed the side of PSG to chase down in that situation. A nice little answer there, clawing the gold lead a little bit closer, getting a dragon in their back pocket as well. Did cost Yubao's ultimate, so not going to be able to make any plays around there. But overall, you got to be pretty happy with that usage of the double buffs. I thought G2 would kind of just sack that bot prio for a little bit, but maybe thinking because they're so far ahead that they can win any fight they take, but not the case right now.
And while Hansama is strong, Noon Quiver isn't the most oppressive item in lane, and certainly when it comes to raw, just hard engage 2v2, Aphelios Leona, very strong duo in terms of what they can bring to the table. So, yes, it was earlier on a bit of an item deficit, but not hurting too much. And of course, now that Aphelios has grabbed some kills of his own, he should be able to go back, get some more items under his belt. Even things out at least on the bottom side of the map.
So at the end of the day, still a 1,000 gold lead, but not the end of the world right now. Summoners are also close to coming back available for Wako and the rest of PSG. 6 is coming in. This is when a lot of the playmaking for both teams becomes unlocked, and we'll see if G2 can keep making map movements happen, because that was kind of the way that they won the early game.
Wako stepping up, good guns for a fight. Chakrams now coming out, auto attacks coming through fast on the Hansama. Easy shutdown now coming in. Wako finding one. Mickey now trying to trade back on a kill. Help pick's not going to be enough. Wako too clean with it. Oh,
the
double.
Turret! Such a nice setup there. You saw Woody walk away knowing the turret was going to finish that one off. A 2v2 double kill for the side of PSG. Wako up to 4 kills now. Suddenly this game is looking a little dicey on his signature champion.
Gold now dead even, but it's the Drake in favor of PSG, and of course Aji on the top side might be in trouble. He did burn all out previously onto Broken Blade. Broken Blade still holding on to his ultimate. But G2, instead of trying to pressure or threaten to dive here against the Ksante, don't want to risk it. We'll focus on the Herald. Mickey first there as well. So should be the Herald at the end of the day traded. But every time I feel like G2, like I thought 5-1 at the start of a game like this would be a big lead. Credit to PSG, it never is as big as I think it is. They always find an angle.
It's there's two sides to the coin, of course. There's PSG finding an absolutely great engage in the bot side by Woody to find that kill. Yubao?
Now Yubao can just ult out to safety, trying to body block now. Yike coming in. Yubao is going to get taken down. That's big. Jinx ult now coming in over the wall. Yike can't dash forward, but can get a bit of extra movement speed. Going to fish for the charm. Won't quite connect. They are able to walk away. Might mean conceding red buff, but they have to be careful. Wako is 4-1. Wako is incredibly strong. They cannot afford to take a fight. Forcing out Mickey's flash. He knows if he gets locked down there, he will surely fall.
Yeah, level 6 disadvantage there by Mickey. The fact that they lost that 2v2 meant Woody had that to kind of force out that engage, get the flash, force G2 out of the jungle as well. So PSG, after a bit of a face check there by Yubao, felt like they were a little lax on the reset. After that great fight in the bot lane, the other team's going to take the Rift Herald, great, and then they'll reset, but G2 actually just ran across mid lane, caught him out there, found that kill. Bit of a mistake, but still in an okay position. I was going to say that it seems like G2 and EMEA fans love sweating, being nervous.
I don't know if they love it, but it certainly seems like a reality as to what is happening as Caps gets locked up and knocked out in the mid lane. 3 members showing up strong there. PSG finding another kill. 11 kills before 11 minutes in the game. This is a pace.
This is definitely not the traditional PSG, but showing that they can hang with the faster paced G2, trading kills all over the map. Now,
Mickey
roaming into the bot side, trying to force a dive on the stack wave by Wako.
Coming in. G2 holding on for now. They've got Yike in the area. They still haven't used the Herald. Keep in mind that should further push their gold ahead, even if they are giving them plate in the mid lane.
Take a look at these gold advantages. A 1,000 gold lead for Wako already. For the side of G2, a lot of it is actually on Broken Blade after that initial great start, having a small CS lead and stuff. So he's almost 600 gold himself up.
And important to keep track of, especially if Broken Blade is not in the fight. A lot of these times, these gold leads can be a little bit deceiving in terms of what do they mean? You know, if you don't have the items, if you haven't purchased, if you haven't spent the gold, it means nothing. And if that character's not in the fight, it means nothing as well. So G2's individual advantage for Broken Blade, only mattering right now in the context of the top side of the map.
And not the most damning lead either. For the most part, Aji is very good at playing weak side. It's one of the things that he has done so well for the team is he absorbs pressure like this, and then in team fights, he's actually an incredible team fighter. And a lot of those late game fights that do go PSG's way, in other situations in their regional gauntlet tournament run, they were able to find a lot of team fights on Gnar and stuff like this off his back of engaging. So I think for Aji, this is actually kind of his comfort zone. Like, okay, first blood, level 1, on invade, not what I want to happen. But from here...
But he's comfortable playing weak side of the map. Maybe not comfortable having an Olaf walk in at level 1 and solo kill him. Certainly I don't think anyone is, but is okay playing at a deficit. And we'll track to see what he can get done as we get later into the game. For now, G2 setting up control on the top side of the map. And again, we heard it in the interview with Kryze and with Ashley Kang. I believe before the tournament started, Mickey talking a little bit about how G2 can get lost in the mid game, can lose sight of what they need to be doing. But right now, it seems like eyes on the prize. The prize right now is Aji. The top side, unstoppable. Traps now coming out. He's flashing to safety. G2 setting up pressure there. It looks like just trying to break this Jinx out of the laning phase, willing to concede bot side of the map to just try to rush down this tower.
Nicely done there by Aji to get the flash out before the traps arm themselves. And I like this play by G2. I think Broken Blade under turret will be a little bit harder to dive with his ultimate, able to immune a lot of the CC from the Leona. They might still look for it, otherwise just grab turret plates and continue the dragon stacking.
Stun on the backside. G now unstoppable, dashing forward, looking for the Q3 pullback, but polymorphed. Not sure who can really ult to get out to safety. Not really a lot of angles to escape on this one. Aji standing for now, but that's the reset now coming in for Yike. Caps following up. Ulti used already. G2 just going to try to break through top lane tower. The Herald grabbing a bit of damage, grabbing a few plates, but G2 going to need a lot more damage if they want to shred through on this wave. I'm going to take the second one at least.
Nice idea by PSG there, rotating Yubao up to try and cover the dive, but just too clean by the side of G2. Now it's PSG's turn.
It's PSG's turn indeed, but Broken Blade is very, very strong, trying to turn and burn. Waka will at least grab the kill. Now one more on the top side of the map as Yubao gets taken down. MikyX still standing, and G2 just doing it better on the top side of the map.
Able to get 2 kills on their dives. Also a 1-for-1 by Broken Blade while breaking that top turret. The Dragon does go in PSG's favor, but overall you have to be happy for that as a G2 fan. Waka will have to stick around to finish this turret off. He will grab it, but it will give G2 the faster reset as well to get back onto the map. So able to trade up quite a bit in kills there and grab themselves back that 1,000 gold lead.
And see really where they want to focus in the next few minutes. Of course, 1 minute and 12 seconds till the second Herald is going to spawn. So something that we're going to have to keep track of. G2 will really reset back to the top side of the map now that they've broken open that tower. Are they willing to concede second Herald and instead continue to try to pump money into the Jinx? I actually like the strategy generally It's a champion who excels at destroying towers. Yes, plates are now down, but Ansama can shred through these objectives if left unattended. It's similar for Aphelios with White Gun if he's close enough.
I would consider for PSG contesting this dragon. You have all your sums available on Wako. He is quite strong. 1,500 gold up of his opposition.
Well timed MasterCard gold difference. Showing us the story of this game. So it's all eyes on Wako. If we're going to see a fight, if we're going to see a skirmish, it's the Aphelios. He's got to do all the work.
Absolutely, and the fact that I was just saying he has his sums available, Ultimate's going to be coming up for pretty much everyone, makes it feel like you're pretty happy to fight around him. Red and White Guns grabbed up. Red on pretty low ammo, but still a very threatening situation if G2 are trying to dive into him, being able to kite back with the rest of his team.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about Aphelios because this is the only champion you can be good at by reading.
The bane of pro players everywhere.
The bane of pro players everywhere. They don't always read the finer details. But the TLDR, if you're not very familiar with this champion or you struggle to follow, is you don't want to walk into a fight with a purple gun at full ammo. It's just not a gun you can get rid of easily. It's not a gun that does a lot. Has some very good use cases. But as we check in on the win expectancy powered by AWS, very close. Not like last game where G2 were nearly at 99.9%.
No.
It's been back and forth.
A lot more heart rate monitor look here. PSG grabbing mid pressure off the Herald setup here. We'll see if they want to fight or just trade out for the turret.
Have to be careful with G2 approaching the wave to try and defend. Looking for the engage. Wako still untouched on the backside for now. Broken Blade continuing to wander forward. You can see big damage coming in from the Aphelios off to the side. These Caliber Qs are going to be massive, but they're just trying to shred through the jungler. They get the reset, and that might be enough. Leaping in. Ahri not able to find the charm in that one. Yuumi not even going to throw it out. PSG getting corralled here by G2 Esports. Wako has to be careful. Caps once again going to fish for an angle onto the backside. Wako now gale forcing out to safety. If Wako has no space to play, he's got no room to maneuver. Now he's trying to fire back. He just can't do any damage. G2 tearing through his front line too quickly. Yes, he's powerful, but he's got no space to work.
Excellent slow play engage there by G2, poking in and out multiple times, trying to find the weak point of PSG's line, and they found it in Jinjia, trying to heal up off the honey fruit plant. Gets engaged on, gives the first reset for Yike, and then to wrap around the turret for the redive. Very clean play by G2 there, and defended their mid lane turret while grabbing the Rift Herald there for more gold. Just a huge cleanup by G2.
Yeah, no, about a 3K gold advantage, looking strong overall, and you can see it starts by just chunking out the enemy jungler.
I love how they're playing this. They're just trying to stop them from being able to get in, get the Rift Herald, and then here, I thought they were just going to be blowing ults and engage tools to kind of force them back to make sure they don't lose this mid lane turret. That's why Broken Blade, charging forward there. I think this is all clean. But then once they see Jinjia step too far forward, that's when they just flash commit everything on top of him. Ansama ultimate didn't even connect, wasn't even needed, but the right idea. And then you can now move around the backside and actually find this engage angle. It's maybe a scary situation with his charm lands, but baits out so many of the engage tools that means there's nothing to stop Caps from going flying into the backside of the fight and finding all these kills.
And Wako forced the Gale Force early, and credit to G2 identifying the second that the Ahri Spirit Rush was no longer available, the potential for PSG to turn without the Vi, without the Ahri ultimate is essentially non-existent.
Oh boy.
Here we go. Yike now walking in, all eyes on Wako. They're just trying to bully this man out of the mid lane. He will flash over the wall to safety, but safety might not be the right word. Woody instead will be the sacrificial Leona here. PSG now retreating in the mid lane. They're getting absolutely slaughtered. G2 dissecting them in the mid lane, not giving their AD carry a single opportunity to do anything in the last two fights.
G2 continue attacking from multiple angles at the same time. You could see Jinjia charging his Q up, not quite sure who to actually use it on to defend. And it allowed Broken Blade to charge down onto Wako, saving Private Wako. Did succeed, but it cost the rest of the team their lives. And with that, G2 are also able to move back onto the Dragon on the tail end of that fight that they win. Stop the Drake stacking from PSG, stop that potential win con, and continue to grow the gold lead up to 5,000 now.
And it's a concerning sign in the fights to come for PSG because Wako is still very strong. 6-1-0. He just finished the Infinity Edge. He should be able to shred through a fight, but with this Olaf just running at him, with the looming threat of Caps coming over a wall, it's very hard for him to find space to maneuver, and there is no Thresh. There is no Tom Kent. There are no safety tools for this Aphelios past the cleanse, past the Gale Force, and I just don't know if he's going to have the opportunity to really play out these fights.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, like, okay, the IE is obviously going to be needed to punch through very tanky members of G2 already. The steel cap's done for Broken Blade, has the Aegis as well. You see an all in here.
He's just going to walk him down. That is an unstoppable Ksante. Broken Blade maybe hoping Raji would respect the challenge to a 1v1. He was not interested. He just wanted to walk away. So ult not going to be super impactful in that context.
Yeah, Aji's still on the Walmart build, just has a little bit of everything,
Yep.
trying to get to his mythic still. Not feeling particularly strong, so I can understand not wanting the 1v1 against Broken Blade.
Yeah, you can't, the everyday low prices can't battle the like Supreme Gucci, whatever the hell Broken Blade's got going on with 2 completed items, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely not a fight you want to take. And for Wako, where I was going was not going for the Bloodthirster second. Obviously, with the nerfs that kind of came in for that item recently, not as much of a second item rush, but maybe with how much engage tools there are by G2, they can kind of force him out of fights if they can just chunk him low with Broken Blade charging in there.
And it's really tricky. When you are the Fed member of your team, can you afford to build defensively? Can you afford to delay item and damage spikes? Because now we see the last Whisper coming in, and we're probably not going to see a Bloodthirster until 4th item, and he really needs that lifesteal. He needs that sustain. He needs that shield. So it's going to be tricky. Again, more pressure on Wako to move flawlessly in these fights and to get his teammates to cover for him as much as possible, because G2 clearly aware of how much of an advantage that they have. 6K just about in their favor. A little closer to 5. But G2 taking control of the pit for now, looking for an angle into these fights.
Yep, working the vision of PSG, trying to force them in, trying to find an angle to peel them apart. Already objective bounties up for PSG if they're able to trade out for the mid lane turret, but G2 very good about making sure that they keep the wave prio on the enemy side of the map.
G2, and especially Broken Blade, just continuing to walk forward. Just walking menacingly at the side of PSG.
I'm very impressed by him. He has done a very good job this tournament so far. 5-1-2 now on the Olaf.
It's been fantastic from him. And domestically, he was trying a lot of creative strategies. They weren't always working out. He was falling behind in lanes to players like Adam. So a lot of people were skeptical as to how good Broken Blade was. But we can see here on the international stage, at least in this first stage, he's really showing up.
Yeah, I remember just seeing so much hate. I was told that EU top sucked, but it does not seem to be the case so far with Broken Blade this tournament. You know, I heard that like, oh, Photon's the best, or Chasey's the best, and here he is, absolutely having a great tournament so far. Now Baron buff started out by G2.
G2 focus, Broken Blade immediately going to try to turn Waka running for his life. They have to burn through that Olaf, but they just don't have the damage. They're trying, but they cannot get it done. Mickey delivered into the waiting arms of PSG, but it just sets up for Caps. It's a wombo combo, and Broken Blade just continues to run face first into the back line of PSG. He will not be stopped. He will not be slowed. He'll be charmed, but he will not go down. Oh, he's just having a time of his life. He just does not care. Take notes, baby. He's making it work.
Broken Blade heard us talking about him, said, keep the camera on me. Forced that engage. Huge teamfight win by G2. Caps keeping Junji around, waiting for backups. There's the kill. 4-1 on the side of G2, and we'll grab the Baron on the back end of that fight.
That was not a fight for PSG, and we are quickly starting to realize how strong whimsied Shirelia's wild growth to Olaf is in the context of trying to take out a single fed enemy. Wako, even with the Gale Force, admittedly with no flash, he just couldn't do it. He couldn't burn through the Olaf health bar fast enough, and he couldn't run fast enough to get away from the Viking. So next few minutes are going to be tough. Maybe he gets 3-4 items, it's a different story, but G2 leveraging their strength incredibly well.
Not too much to break down here. Like you said, press all the buttons, run at the enemy, press Q, W, E, and just melt him down. Broken Blade knows how strong he is, has the Radiant Virtue build as well to keep himself kind of healing up through the fight. And then, while the rest of the team was kind of trying to save Wako, they funneled into that choke point there and gave Caps a monstrous engage over the wall, locking down multiple members, blowing them up. G2 grab the Baron, look well positioned to 2-0 this series. If they can close this one out, they're going to be moving on to the main stage of MSI.
Huge to lock it in here. Reminder, if you lose, you have to play a best of 3 against the winners of tomorrow's loser side bracket match. Then that's just to qualify for a best of 5. So it's a long road for anyone who is not able to find a win here. G2 currently in control is Woody. Being isolated, he throws down the ultimate, but it's just not going to do anything. Yike turning into Leona. See if he tries to go for the re-engage, but G2 again focused on the objective in front of them, ready to turn this fight if necessary. Wako, great guns for a fight. But again, will he get the time and space to do anything? Broken Blade just eyeing him out, keeping an eye on that Aphelios so consistently. Yike. Follow up, good damage on Aji. PSG just backing away. It's not really an angle here. I think they just have to concede the inhibitor. Be careful not to just lose the entire game in this moment.
Yeah, it's just such a menace. Broken Blade is able to force out so many summoners, gets the bot lane inhibitor for the rest of his team. Also, Hansama quietly having a good game here. Flank engage coming in.
Jump backside. Ulti available. Just has the blast cone out to safety, trying to push Hansama. Hansama lines up against the wall. He can maybe try to get something done. Holds him back with the waiting arms. Wako can now go to town. Broken Blade on the backside is big though. Can they burn through Broken Blade? Broken Blade, ultimate in 3 seconds. He's going to shred through the Aphelios as soon as he can, but his health bar's already blinking. Yuumi now leaping forward. He sees Yuumi, but will it be enough? Broken Blade still standing. Broken Blade still cutting through the entire team. Wako gets turned into a little snowman. He can't even auto, and G2 taking the fight.
For a moment there, PSG thought they had the flank angle. They found Hansama, but that left Broken Blade alive to chase down. And with that kill, G2 are going to punch their ticket on.
Game 1, back and forth, but game 2 has just been about the G2 show from start to finish. PSG, small glimmers of hope, but they're going to have to hope for more than that. On the bottom side of the bracket, G2 taking their time on the win, taking their time on the closeout as Wako finds 1 kill. Wako still autoing. Yike should just end the game, but they can't end the game. Wako is too strong. Wako
work for it.
Continuing to go hard. Oh my God. Call him Wako Flocko Flame. He's going hard in the paint. Flocko. Oh, he holds on. That's a shutdown. What?
Oh my God, somehow this man refuses to lose. You can see him laughing on the screen, finding the kill onto Mickey while the rest of the team was thinking they could just end the game. Not the case there. Gets the cleanup kill onto Yike. Now they're gonna grab a dragon. PSG, no Nexus turrets left alive, but refusing to let the game end.
And they are the I didn't hear no bell team. Like,
Face bruised.
Face bruised, standing up, you know.
Knees wobbling.
Not even in the right, maybe arguably not in the right weight class. They're still going. You know, they will not stop. PSG and Wako especially, well played. Of course, you can see in the fight, G2 still coming out on top despite what looked like a promising start for PSG.
Yeah, the fact they used pretty much every ultimate that they had on Hansama to finish him off. Broken Blade, like you said, counting down the time until he had his ultimate back available, able to drop that one. It becomes so hard to kill with all that lifesteal coming through. The Ravenous Hydra doing tons of work. They get the kills there, and then Wako somehow baits the rest of G2 into thinking that they can just ignore him, which 4v1, I get why you think you can. But here, just so much spray damage done from the blue gun, the flash forward onto Mickey, and then being able to poke caps and multiple members of G2 low through the minion wave leaves Yike a little exposed for the purple gun slow chase down sequence. You were talking about how usually you don't want the purple gun, but in that sequence,
because the slow usually isn't that valuable, but when you can just walk down an enemy team, it's looking like a pretty damn good gun. PSG. Cap's now going to leap forward, instantly trying to lock down the 80 carry, and they should just shred through Wako, and that's just the game. They're just slaughtering everybody. They don't have any damage left. G2, they're not playing around. That one's going to be it. Ubao taken out. He's running back to the base, but there's just no way he gets out. Hansama will snipe him with the zap. G2 2-0ing PSG, qualifying to the bracket stage. PSG not out of the tournament yet. They'll get an opportunity to come back, but today is G2's day. Have yet to drop a game here at MSI.
4-0 so far in their 2 series. Say cute base defense, time to end this one with no turrets to fall back to. Very easy engage for Broken Blade and the rest of the team.
I mean, you know what, honestly, like, well